What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Geeking Poetic Podcast. I'm Larry.
I'm Vito.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about one of our favorite subject matters of, well, basically all geekdom, which is...
aliens.
Ooh, these funny little bald guys. Yeah, we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite aliens. Not alien movies or books or TV. We're going to cover all that, even real aliens.
Don't put it in quotes because, you know, it's the real deal.
So we're going to be talking about our favorite aliens. We're going to talk about what you guys chose as the favorite aliens. You guys had some
interesting ones.
Interesting choices. And yeah, we're just going to delve right into it. Let's not waste any more time. Keep watching the skies and let's get into it. What's going on, guys?
What is up?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you? Okay?
No.
We're off to a great start. Megan's having a rough time. We already had to restart this like 3 times now.
I know talk good. I don't know what you want from me.
Well, here we are, our first, well, it's not our first podcast of 2019, but it's our first, like, subject-themed one.
Yeah.
Right? Because we did the 2018 retrospective thing. So even though that came out this year, I don't count it as still tied to last year, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, fuck 2018.
Yeah, man. It had its high points, but, ooh, some low points.
Oh, yeah.
So... here we are with our first proper geeky subject for 2019. And how are you guys doing?
Doing well, I think.
Yeah? Hanging, yeah?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, just going to cut right to the chase here. This episode, we are going to be talking about one of our favorite subjects, definitely one of Vito's favorite subjects, which is, putting it pretty broad out there, and I'm not talking about chicks. And already we've lost people.
Yeah.
No.
Good job.
Putting it out there broadly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do. A broad, you know, the one that's got a little extra cushion for the pushing. Oh. Broad.
And as Jason would say, we've derailed already. So
we do so well.
Yeah, we sure do. No, talking about it's a broad spectrum. And we're talking about aliens. Now, man, as we've learned when we decided, it sounded like a great, we'll just do it about aliens.
That'll be easy.
Yeah.
No.
We're all into that. Oh, yeah, too much because, good Lord, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't even know where to start.
Yeah.
It took me forever just to figure out where to start at.
Right. Find a good starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what we ended up deciding we were going to do is normally we'd pick like our top 5 favorite movie or something like that. This time we made it a little bit more specific, but general at the same time. And people are like, what are you talking about?
That's an oxymoron.
Hey, I am an oxymoron. But what we're doing is we're going to do the top 5 favorite aliens. So that can mean anything. It could be a movie alien. It could be an alien in a book. It could be real life aliens. So because people go, what do you mean real life aliens? And it's like, well,
they could be out there.
You know, some would say they are out there.
They're already here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know Vito's big believer in the reptilians. Right?
Well, I'm not as enthusiastic as David Icke is, but it's a possibility.
Right.
They say 1 in 3 is people are an alien, so
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some
says
compelling
that.
YouTube evidence of reptilians in the media.
The idea of saying compelling YouTube and evidence, just that right there, that's a triumvirate of nonsense.
That'll tell you all you need to know about reptilian agenda, man, is right in those 3 words. Compelling YouTube evidence.
Well, I mean, yeah, and as we'll wax on more about it later, I mean, who knows? You know, who knows? We don't know. Nobody really knows. Or if somebody does know, we probably
They
aren't.
died under mysterious
I was
circumstances.
just gonna say, yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. So, we decided we were just gonna try to list our top 5. I say we did come up with lists, but it was not easy.
No.
And one thing we are gonna do here that we haven't really talked about too much. We talked a little bit about it, not really actually. I mean, we kind of gave hints, but we didn't really tell people what our new format was going to be. We have a new format
ooh,
that we have
switching
labored.
shit up on you.
Yeah, that we have labored over. And it's not anything like real genius or anything, but what we realized is a lot of you are really excited about the top 5. You sit there and listen to us talk and talk and talk about all sorts of stuff, and me go off on millions of tangents. I know that I do that. Waiting for us to get to the top 5, which in a lot of cases, man, we would be way into the episode before we'd even start touching on the top 5. So what we decided was we're going to flip it. We're going to flip the script. And we're going to start with the top 5s. We're also going to talk about what you guys voted, because we did an online poll and we asked all you guys out there what you thought the best aliens were. And man, you guys had some wonky answers. Man, we love you guys.
You guys were all over the place.
Don't get us wrong. We love you guys, but you guys had some interesting answers. Some were good. Some not so much. So I think we're all in agreement on that, right? We looked at this list, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll go over that a little bit. But yeah, what we're going to do is, so we're going to just jump right into the top 5, like right off the bat. We're going to do the same as we've done before. We'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll just collectively talk about all of them together, because as in most cases, although this is probably our most varied top 5 since we've started doing this podcast.
Yeah, I think so.
There is some crossover. I think there's somewhere at least 2 of us have chosen the same thing and stuff like that. And then we'll have honorable mentions and stuff too. But yeah, we're going to try not to waste too much time, because I know I have a tendency to waste a lot of time. I know I do's that, and I apologize for the doing it, but I'm working on it. So
New Year's resolution.
that is my New Year. My New Year's resolution was 2 things: to lose all the extra weight I put on in the last couple of months because of the damn holidays. Man, again, and we won't go on too long about this because I don't really want you to focus on it too long. But anybody else besides me put on some extra weight over the holidays?
I've been putting on extra weight all year, bro. So you guys are catching up to me.
Yeah, well, I'm already working on reversing it. I've already reverse, but I've already
Fucking Uno that shit, bro.
like the electric slide or whatever it is. I'm trying to, or the cha-cha. No, what is that stupid dance they do? Not the cha-cha
Reverse.
slide.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know,
Yeah,
crisscross.
Yeah.
Everybody smack your dicks. No, that's not how it goes.
No,
No, I don't
think
think
it
so.
is.
You're close, but it's not dick smacking.
I must be going to the wrong clubs. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm already trying to work pretty hard on losing all this extra weight and everything, because me and Vito are going to NAMM. So if any of you out there,
We got to look good for NAMM, bro. I mean,
yeah.
it's the fashion expo of the year.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised. NAMM ends up, it's ridiculous because it's supposed to be about business, which is ultimately what we're going there for, is to like look at gear, talk gear. I'll be at the Seymour Duncan booth. If anybody out there plays guitar and is into music, we both are affiliated now with Seymour Duncan and everything because they're awesome. I will be at the Duncan booth all weekend. Well, if you don't lose weight before you get there, you'll probably lose weight when you're there because it's nothing but walking.
That's fine with me.
Lots of walking. Just walking
everywhere. I'm going to fast walk that whole week, dude.
Dude.
Arms pumping and everything. I might even get like 2 5-pound weights or something and just keep walking.
Get the ankle weights.
Yeah, there you go. Or in a backpack with like a 45-pound plate in there.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. Yeah, you could be leaping around. No, would even bet you should take your shirt off and wear a backpack
and then play guitar. Drop C sharp riffs
like that guy from Puya. I heard that fool's got terrible back knee. He's just like broke out all in his back from being sweaty and having that back. That's what I was like, what has he got in the backpack? He's up on stage in front of 10,000 people in Brazil playing fucking drop C riffs and shit. It's like,
sorry, Mark.
He's cool. I'm just joking. I'm sure we are not the first or the last people to give him shit about it, but yeah, it's always like a joke of like, what's he got in the backpack? He's got like snacks in there. Like a first aid kit, just in case somebody in the crowd like passes out. It's like all of a sudden he could just like throw his guitar down. And he's like, "I got you, bro." Jumps off front of the stage. It's like
he's like an EMT or something.
Megan's already like,
you said you're gonna keep on topic, and you're not. Clearly.
Hey, I told you there was going to be a little bit of time for this, but in any case. So we'll be at NAMM later in the month in Anaheim, California. NAMM, people are like, NAMM, these guys are going to NAMM. We don't mean Vietnam. We're talking about the National Association of Music Merchants or something like that. I forget what it stands for exactly. I've only gone there like every year for 10 years. I don't even know what it stands for. But it's a really cool thing. So if anybody's going, let us know. Or if you didn't see this till afterwards, let us know if you were there. And I'm sure we'll be there again next year. But let's move on. You know what? I don't want to waste any more time anyway because I can't wait to talk about it. These poll results. Folks, okay. So we went on social media and we asked you guys what you thought like were the best, your favorite aliens or the most memorable, the most famous ones. And our dear Miss Megan over there tallied up the votes and the suggestions and made this nice list for us. It's pretty
a lot of work.
Yeah, it was work in and of itself. Yeah. So, I guess we should know by now that our fellow geeks, our Geeking Poetic supporters and everything wouldn't just have a lot of straightforward answers for us. We got all sorts of stuff.
We gotta think of a name for the fans of the show.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, we'll have to think. Anybody got any suggestions of what we should call, because I even hate to call it fans. We think of you guys, you're like family, we're all geeks in this together, standing strong,
I hear some Manowar lyrics coming out here soon.
Yeah. So, yeah, if anybody has any suggestions of what you think we should name you guys, like what we can call all of you guys, like a fan club thing or our whole like little group, yeah, let us know. Meanwhile, we'll see if we could think of something. I'm sure we can. We're not that clever. But all right, Megan, should we start reading them off?
Go for it.
All right. Well, so there were 5 that stood out above everybody else, thank God. So we narrowed it down to 5. So number 1 alien was the Venom symbiote from Spider-Man comic books and the recently released Venom movie, which I have not seen.
Yeah, me either.
You didn't see it, right?
I didn't see it either.
Man, and I really want to see it because I actually heard it's really good. I know we saw the trailers for it. We were like, maybe. So I think it's already coming out on video if it's not.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't it? I know. But Venom, that's a pretty solid choice. I mean, very important in the Marvel universe and stuff. Definitely an alien. Pretty damn creepy. Pretty cool. All black. I'm down with it. You know. Number 2 was Tribbles from Star Trek.
Why?
They're cute and adorable.
Fucking lame.
I mean, okay, look, there's all like, you know.
We have a Tribble somewhere, don't we?
Yes, we do actually.
There he is.
He's right here. He or she or it, whatever.
Whatever,
it is.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, here's our Tribble. It's a collector's item now. It says, "Hug me, I purr. Squeeze me, I squeal." Like, you know, what do we do if we shave you, dude? You know, what happens then?
Just an old ball sack.
Just like a hairy old leathery ball sack. Little did you know that Tribbles are actually just overly hairy ball sack aliens. Fucking ball bag. That's what the 2 B's
Ball
in
bag.
Tribbles stands for. It stands for fucking ball bag. Anyway.
Hey, that's a collector's item.
Yeah, it's all right. But, you know, the point is there's so many kick-ass aliens in Star Trek. I mean, good Lord, tons of aliens in Star Trek. And no, you guys voted for Tribbles. So, yeah, good on you guys. All right. Number 3, you guys voted for the aliens from Mars Attacks. Yeah. Well, as I already talked about when we did our episode on Mars, so if anybody's listening to this and hasn't heard our Mars episode and is into sci-fi, all this stuff, check out the Mars episode because it's good shit. That was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Trailers were or the teasers were fun to do too.
Yeah, they were. Yes, those the Mars. Yeah, the Mars teasers were some of the best ones. But as you know, if you listened to that or watched it, I'm not a fan of Mars Attacks.
I don't understand who anybody is.
Yeah.
Of all the aliens out there, all the alien movies.
But people, this
It's
one
just
got
ridiculous.
a lot of votes,
Yeah,
man.
it did.
A lot of people mentioned Mars Attacks. I mean, you guys like it, okay, but I'm just like, those goofy little fuckers. They're iconic. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, they're such a part of pop culture.
Yeah, I mean-
kind of like Rat Fink and all that other stuff from the '60s. And,
Yeah.
you know, but not my thing. Not geeking. This one we're all on agreement. We may not be in agreement on a ton of our top 5s, but we all agree that we don't fucking like this. You guys are crazy.
That's why we love them.
We do love and appreciate all of you guys. Number 4, and I'm kind of surprised this didn't get more votes. I really thought more people would mention this because, again, just so iconic, was E.T., the extraterrestrial. Can't even say that. Terrestrial. Extraterrestrial. Boy, oh boy. Thanks, Steven Spielberg, for that one. I like E.T.
I love E.T., dude.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Mhm.
You like E.T.,
I
right?
do like E.T. Speaking of,
Yeah.
he's on the
Oh,
screen
yeah.
down.
There you go.
This is we had this on before, but this is the ET 800. That's right. A Terminator ET from the fabulous people at junkfed.com.
Yeah. You should put a JunkFed link.
Yeah,
in
we've
there.
done it before, but I will also put another junkfed.com address right there for you.
Mhm.
Nice.
Got this for my birthday from Michelle, and the guy was so nice that he had actually made this for me because he sold out, so they made another
Oh,
batch.
nice.
Yeah,
Really? You didn't tell me
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. So, JunkFed, you guys are awesome. So good.
Hopefully
work.
you guys are at C2E2 again. We'll
Yeah.
come see you.
Yeah, we are going to C2E2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd just got announced.
That is
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him
Nice.
sign my "I Love You, Man" DVD.
Wear our Rush t-shirts.
Yeah,
Yep. So I'm sure he doesn't get it. He's got to be like, oh, all these fucking Rush fans coming out of the woodwork. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with E.T. No spoilers, but E.T. ain't on my list. You know, I love E.T., but he's not. I don't know. It's not what I think of when I think of aliens that like were meaningful to me, or
Right.
whatever, if that makes any sense. But great movie,
Incredible
entertaining.
movie, yeah.
Yeah, so we can have fun at the expense of ET too, but what was that Chris's ET
Oh,
thing?
E.T. Feety thing?
ET Feety. Chris has this talking. Our engineer Chris has this talking ET doll from the 80s, and it just look it up. It's on YouTube. Just look it up. It's the sounds and the things it says are just messed up. Anyway, so then the last thing, and this one we won't talk too much because I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler, but not for anybody that knows us. Number 5 was the Xenomorphs from Alien series.
They came at 5?
That came at 5, dude.
Guys, for real?
Tribbles beat out Alien.
That's preposterous. I can't even, that's the word I can think of right now. It's just...
Yeah. So we won't talk too much about them because anybody who watches the show knows we love Ridley Scott and Aliens and all that whole thing. We'll talk more about it. But that was the top 5. And then real quick, I'll just, because I got to run them down. We won't drag on too much about these because there ain't no point in most of them. The remaining votes, we had votes for Elf.
I can get down with Elf.
Yeah. He almost made my list.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. The Ripley Dreamcatcher.
That's a Stephen King alien thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. The People of Earth.
Isn't
Okay.
that like a new show or something?
Yeah.
I
Right?
think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I got 1 vote. The War of the Worlds Aliens.
Mhm.
Okay. That's valid. The Guys in Hypocrisy. But see, the thing is, I don't think Hypocrisy, they believe in the aliens and stuff, but they don't, I don't know. Well, Peter Tagrin might be an alien. There might be something to be said for that because he's an odd guy. He also, I shouldn't even talk about that. Just say. He's also got some interesting tattoos and odd parts of his body that I won't get into because that's classified information that I know. But smoke that shit. That's all I'm going to say. So the Roswell 47 aliens, the aliens from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the cast of Out of This World.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is.
Out of This World. Okay. Predator. Alien.
Well, I'm glad you guys got the Predator on there. Christ.
Of course, somebody was going to have to say Mork from Ork. Vito, this is why this shit needs to be on video and this part can't just be audio because that face just said it all. Hey man, I loved me some Mork. I loved Mork and Mindy. Robin Williams was a genius, man.
I don't deny that.
But does he belong on this? The Solomons from Third Rock from the Sun.
You never saw that? That's
No,
good.
I did, but come on.
An interesting one that I would not have thought of, although it's totally accurate, is Superman.
Yeah.
Fittingly enough that our last podcast subject was Superman, but yeah, he's an alien, all right, but I just don't think of him that way. He's a fucking superhero, I don't know. He's American. And he's not really, actually. Lives in the Arctic Circle or some shit, right? Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, The Blob.
That almost made my list.
Really?
But I'll talk about why it didn't.
Okay. This one almost made my list, which was Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent story and movie.
Mhm.
The original.
Yeah.
I've only seen parts of the
Me too.
Keanu
The
one,
Keanu,
and I
yeah.
thought it was okay what
Yeah.
I saw, but the original, it's just one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very influential. That definitely belongs on here. And then last but not least, thank God, so that they weren't complete idiots when it came to Star Trek and everything. They actually said Mr. Spock from Star Trek. Thank God for that, because no Borg, no Klingons, no Tribbles. It just goes to show that people like hairy ball bags.
Yeah.
Hairy ball bag aliens. You open that vent, you got a whole bunch of hairy ball bags falling on your face. Look at that scene. Yeah. But in all seriousness, we totally appreciate you guys participating in that. And it's fun, you know. Yeah, there's things you guys thought of that I never would have thought of. I don't think any of us would have.
No. But thank you guys for submitting your comments.
So, anyway, on that note, you want to
Let's get into our top 5.
let's do it to it. All right. So, here it is, our top 5 favorite aliens. Or I don't know if you call it favorite, but just whatever.
Yeah.
Top 5 aliens for the moment.
Yeah.
Especially in Vito's case, it'd probably change by tomorrow.
Yeah, it changed today, so
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do 5. We'll go around and do our 5s, then our 4s, 3s, 2, 1, and then we will talk about them more in depth. So my number 5 is, as we mentioned earlier, it was, and you know, you're probably gonna roll your eyes because it was their number 5 and it's my number 5, which is the xenomorph from Aliens, an Alien versus Predator, or an Alien Covenant, all that. Yep, that was my choice, was Xenomorph. So, like I said,
Cool.
We'll get more into it when we talk about
Yeah.
it. Vito?
mine is the arachnids from Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And I chose the kaiju from Pacific Rim.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, those are all. It's interesting that all of our 5s are more like monstery,
Yeah.
Yeah.
insecty, monstery. We didn't plan that.
No.
No, I think I'm going to derail it from here on out.
That really no.
Yeah, totally.
Let me guess, Mork and Mindy's on your number 1.
Maybe. I guess you're going to have to sit tight and see.
Oh boy. Okay, well my number 4 is I don't even know what you would exactly call it, so I just refer to it as the extraterrestrial force or presence being from 2001 Space Odyssey and 2010.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever named it, right?
No, not really. I mean, there's of course the monolith and the space baby and all that other stuff, you know. The landlord. The landlords as they call them, but yeah, we don't know. So
Yeah.
Vito?
Mine is the Leviathans of Jupiter from Ben Bova's novels Jupiter and Leviathans of Jupiter.
Good old Ben Bova.
Fucking love that guy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a popular. That is definitely a good one, and well regarded amongst true sci-fi
Oh, yeah.
fans. All right, Meg.
And I went with the poll, and I went with Mr. Spock from Star Trek.
That is totally.
That's my Star Trek one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just say now that is one of my honorary mentions. That didn't make my top 5, but I made it honorary, so we'll yap about that one. So all right, so the 2001 aliens and Ben Bova's
Leviathans of Jupiter?
from Jupiter and
Mr. Spock.
Mr. Spock. Okay, I think that's pretty solid. I feel good about all 3 of those. All right, number 3. My number 3, I have to be fair. I have to give credit where it's due because other people mentioned this, and it's just like I said with Superman. I didn't even really think about this as being an alien, but sure as heck is, and that is Doctor Who. Doctor Who, him or herself. Itself, they self. Doctor Who, they self. Yeah, that's my number 3. Which actually, man, that could have been higher for me because I love Doctor Who. But when you see when I explain what my top 2 are, you'll understand.
I gotcha.
Vito?
Mine is the Goa'uld from Stargate SG-1.
Nice. Stargate's awesome.
Dude, fuck yeah, it is.
That is a solid choice. Okay, and Megan?
I went with Doctor Who as well for number 3.
Awesome. Okay. So interesting. So then now, so even though we're somewhat different, but again, we're in sync because we're talking episodic television, sci-fi.
Now, was
aliens.
Doctor Who, is that something that inhabits a body?
No, he's
Okay, so it's
he's an alien. He's a
okay.
time. He's one of the Time Lords. A Gallifreyan.
Just regenerates in a new
I
body.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I can't even get into explaining
All right.
Doctor Who to you. Oh boy.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah,
A little bit,
yeah.
a little bit.
A little bit.
Not enough. But
Right. But all right, so we got 2 for Doctor Who, and then we've got the
Goa'uld.
Goa'uld. Yeah,
It's a goofy name, but awesome aliens.
it's like the guy that used to actually kick for
I was gonna
for the Chicago Bears.
Robbie Goa'uld.
Robbie Goa'uld. Yeah. Well, nobody can ever pronounce. Some people call him Robbie Gold, and then other people say Gould, which is what I always said. I always said
Yeah.
Gould because I knew guys with the name Gould,
Yeah.
and then everybody on TV is like Robbie Gold. I'm like Gold.
It's like the lazy person's,
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
There's a fucking U in there, you know. So anyway, but yeah, the Goa'uld. So yeah, that's pretty solid. All right, I'm feeling good about all this
All right,
so
good.
far. All right, so moving on to number 2. All right, number 2, I had to go with, and they got a little mention in there and everything. But again, anybody that saw the Mars episode will know that one of my favorites is the Martians from War of the Worlds.
Mm.
The original War of the Worlds from the books and everything and the radio broadcast, but especially, of course, the 1953
Yeah.
movie. And I'll get into why, but yeah, so that shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Not at all.
Vito,
The Xenomorphs from the Alien franchise.
they only made your number 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of wow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Interesting.
I have a feeling I know why, because I have a feeling that, yeah, I know where you're going to go with number 1. So, but Megan, you're number 2?
I'm going to completely derail everything. I'm going with a cartoon, a 5-minute cartoon at that, Lifted of Stu and Mr. B.
I've never even heard of that
Oh
before.
my God, it's so amazing.
I know what it is. Yeah, that is an interesting choice,
I love it. It's so great.
especially to be number 2. That kind of that rivals. So the number 2 of the listeners and viewers was Tribbles, and she chose that Stu and Mr. B from Lifted. So that's equally goofy.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but I don't care.
I thought
I
you were
love
going to
it.
go, instead of Mr. B, I thought you were going to say Mr. Bean for a second there.
Oh, no.
That guy is a fucking alien.
Well, he's supposed to. There's a theory that he is an alien. That's what the show writers wanted it to be.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I've been on a Mr. Bean kick this week, so.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. So number 1, which, again, although I don't know, I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before, but anybody that knows me and knows what I'm into, movie wise, I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise, and it's why Doctor Who is number 3. So number 1 are the aliens from one of my favorite movies of all time, probably top 5, is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Those are, again, I'll wax on about it in a few minutes, but man, yeah, that's my number 1. That was the only one. All the other 5, the 4 of the 5, I had to really think about and kind of blah, blah, blah. But I knew this was going to be number 1. So, Vito?
So I'm drifting away from movies and literature, and I'm going with The Greys,
Yep.
which are quote unquote real life aliens.
Right. Yeah, I figured that was going to be. I'd be surprised that you didn't go with something like a xenomorph, but Vito's all about the real life
The real deal.
Oh, yeah.
conspiracies and all that stuff. So that makes sense. Megan, what's your number 1?
I might get completely massacred for this.
Oh God.
But my number 1 I chose is the extraterrestrial archaeologist from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. The book. I should say the book, not the movie.
Interesting.
That James Rollins wrote,
That
correct?
James Rollins wrote it. Yep. I read that before I ever saw the movie, and I
Nice.
loved it.
Nice.
Okay. Well, see, yeah, that's like for everybody that's going to be like, ah, and then you kind of go,
Wait.
oh, wait.
Yeah, shut you up, didn't I?
You know, it's like, yeah, because, okay. That is definitely an interesting number one.
Yeah.
For all
For
of
all
us.
the way around,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, Close Encounters aliens, the Greys, the Roswell type aliens, and the Crystal Skull Kingdom of the Crystal Skull archaeologist aliens. I didn't hate that movie like everybody else does. I mean, it's got bad parts
it's
to
got
it.
Yeah.
bad parts, but it's not as terrible as everybody
No,
Yeah, I
makes
mean,
it.
people made it sound like it was just going to be god awful, and I'm like,
It wasn't that bad, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as the book, but
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah,
Though.
they never are.
Yeah.
So,
Especially when you got James Rollins behind the wheel, you know what I'm saying?
Shit,
well, there you
yeah.
go. Exactly. All right, so let's just start discussing some of these. So, Vito, what was your number 5?
The Arachnids from Starship Troopers.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, so when this movie came out, I absolutely fucking adored it, and I still to this day adore it.
Yeah, I know you're all about
Oh, yeah. And-
Starship Troopers.
In case you guys don't know, some of you may know, I have a pretty big fear of certain insects.
Mm-hmm.
And the arachnids are obviously an insectoid alien race that just, I mean, literally like millions of these things will just swarm and take over like a human base or whatever. And it's like one of the scariest things I can think of. But there's so many different types of arachnids. There's like the spidery ones with the big claws. There's like these big bomb aliens that shoot fucking like asteroids out of their ass. There's these little like crawly things that go on the floor that carry this big brain bug, and the brain bug is like a psychic, and yeah, it gets off the rails at some points, but
No.
just imagine like an well, I guess they're not like culturally intelligent, but a highly evolved insectoid race that can like conquer the galaxy and give us like really run for the money when we go to war with them is pretty fucking scary, man. So I had to go with those guys.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I can see why you would choose that, because I mean, I know fully well of not only of how much you love Starship Troopers, but your fear of like insects, especially the more legs and things.
Ugh. No thanks.
He's yes. People might look at Vito and think like he's a big scary guy, but let me tell you, you get those little like 1,000-legger guys that come out, you know,
Dude.
during damp weather and everything, and yeah.
I literally jump on the couch and like cower because I fucking hate those things so much, man.
Oh my god! And now here's the thing: like, I'm not crazy about them either. I see them, I'm like, ugh. But like, they don't bother me as much, unless you get those kamikaze ones
That run after you.
Yeah.
Fuck those things, dude.
I'm like, what are you thinking, bro? Like, what are you know? He's like, yeah, you get those come at me, bro ones,
Yeah.
you know, that are like, come at me, bro. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking, man? I'm like 1,000 times bigger than you. Stomp. But I actually try not to. I try not to kill insects as much as I possibly can. I don't know why. It's this. I don't know. I just feel like it's unnecessary. And those things are actually really good because they eat and kill a lot of the other bad insects. in
And
your
that's
house.
why I have a bunch of ants in my house, because I kill those motherfuckers as soon as I see them. So yeah.
Yeah, see. And I don't really have anything against ants, but they get a little crazy. So I'd rather have those 1,000-legger guys. Jess would completely disagree with me on this one. I know right now she's probably like, fuck you and those fucking bugs. But but I try not to smash them.
Yeah.
I either scare them off so they run back into their little cracks, or I scoop them up and put them outside. I even do that sometimes with spiders and stuff, but I fucking hate spiders. I'm not a fan of spiders, man. Ugh. Like my biggest fear is like getting bit by like a recluse, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
All right, well so yeah, I mean that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Megan, your
Yes.
number 5?
My number 5 was Kaiju from Pacific Rim.
Okay. Now I admit I don't know that much about Pacific Rim. I'm only more recently kind of
Getting into it.
discovering it. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen them all yet. I'm not for sure exactly how many there are, but I know I saw the first one.
They made 2 of them,
There's 2 of
and a
them so
Sci-Fi
far?
Channel one called Atlantic Rim,
Oh,
which
really?
avoid at all costs.
Oh, no.
Really? Oh, no.
Well, unless you want to like just laugh and be like, "Why would you make this movie? It's really bad." But you know,
Okay. Good to know.
See, it's hard to say because Vito normally would like those kind of movies.
Yeah.
this one I can watch it, but man, there's some really bad effects and just jump cuts that don't make any sense.
Oh, that scares me considering I know some of the
I know.
bad movies.
So
and-
that tells you something.
yeah, that really does tell me something. Okay.
Yeah, but
So Pacific Rim they have these big, huge robots that people have to like mind meld with. There has to be 2 of them. And they have to mind meld with each other into the machine to be able to defeat these aliens because they're so freaking huge and powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually coming up out of a like a crack in the ocean floor.
Okay.
So they're coming up out of if the ocean's not scary enough as it is,
Right.
not knowing what the fuck's down there. But the aliens are actually coming up from the middle of the earth from another dimension, I think.
yeah, I think so.
And attacking the Pacific Rim cities and stuff, and they want to take over our world,
Okay.
and that's just scary as shit to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything ocean stuff, like you said, is pretty scary. So the idea of like on alien creature things that reside in the ocean and ugh.
Yeah, it's a little.
Some think some of the things that we know that live in the ocean like
Are scary enough.
started out as or are from another planet.
Right.
Octopus.
Dude,
They're
man.
so cool, man. I think they're cool and kind of terrifying and creepy.
extremely
at the same time.
intelligent.
Yeah.
Like the mimic octopus. Have you ever seen the mimic octopus,
Dude.
dude? That's some fucking cool
Ooh.
shit, man.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Pacific Rim, it's something that, well, I remember when we first started doing the show and something came up about Pacific Rim when we were planning for things and you were like, holy shit, you haven't seen that. And
Yeah. Well, you still need to get to see that.
yeah, so I did see bits of some of, I think it was the second one that I
Mhm.
saw parts of, and I really liked what I saw. And that's, I think, yeah, you were like, you need to watch the first one. So
Yeah, because I think I was sitting in your kitchen with you or something.
is that what it was? Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
were.
were
It was
some
on when
holiday
we
or
were
something, and-
Right.
He's like, you're like, what is this? I was like, it's Pacific Rim. What do you mean? What is even happening?
Yeah, it's usually the other way around
Yeah,
when
right?
you're the one. But no, so yeah, I'm totally into. But that's a good choice to me because, and like I said, aquatic alien creature things are fascinating.
And when you got giant robots fighting them, I
And
mean, how much
robots,
cooler
yeah.
can you
Yeah,
get than that? I
exactly.
mean,
right,
You got a countdown because you know this alien's coming.
Yeah.
So you're like all freaked out about it and got to be ready to go.
yeah,
And then they kept coming faster and faster and faster and faster. And
yeah,
it
it's
was
good
just
shit.
creepy.
nice.
Yeah, great movie. Creepy aliens.
So my number 5 was the Xenomorph from Alien. So I mean, as far as my list goes, it's definitely the coolest looking alien, the coolest design. I
Mhm.
mean, which is a given that it's Giger.
Yeah.
Giger is amazing. You know what I didn't know when I was doing a little research for this? I didn't realize that Giger this came from a conceptual drawing he had done only like a few years before they actually did Alien. So it wasn't even like this was something that had been around for a long time. It was like
I don't even think anybody really knew who Giger was before O'Bannon and Scott found him, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he was known, but I mean, that was what made him more mainstream, I
Yeah.
think, known. And then, of course, yeah, that's the other reason I had to choose this because Dan O'Bannon is the fucking man,
Yeah.
from which I'll talk about a little bit later. We've talked about in the past when we talked because he was one of the guys that created the cult classic Dark Star.
Fuck yeah.
So, my Dark Star thing. And, I mean, yeah, I think that the Xenomorphs set a whole new standard for science fiction, outer space, horror.
Because before that, it was a guy in a rubber suit monster, which it still kind of is, but this was a different looking scary thing where you actually felt terrified by looking at this thing. Where like the 50s monsters, you're like, yeah, okay, man, whatever. You got a gorilla suit on
I
and a
was just
fucking
gonna say,
space helmet on, like whatever. you
yeah,
know?
a guy in a gorilla suit and a Captain Video helmet.
Yeah.
And that was what a space monster was supposed to be. And then Ridley Scott comes out with this whole new thing, and there's to me, the way they used silence and darkness and build up and tension, and then the shock of the xenomorph and everything, it's almost like the Exorcist of space.
Yeah. And the whole life cycle of the creature, like,
Right.
dude, you're basically raping this person to get your egg inside it, and it's going to use you as a fucking food source and then burst out of your chest.
Right.
It's fucking fucked up shit, man.
Yeah, like they said, parasitic space wasps.
Yeah. And you can't,
know?
what are you going to do? You're going to cut it off? No, because it's got acid for blood and you're dead. It's like,
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, and these things are, their whole reason for existing is literally just propagation of the species. Like they're not,
they don't want land. They don't want money. They just want to reproduce and eat you or kill you. That's
yeah,
it, you know?
and it's just terrifying. And I was a little kid when those things first came out. I remember the big 18-inch
Yeah.
alien doll that Kenner put out. Why did they market that to children? That's why the 70s were fucking awesome, folks, because like now they'd have people like complaining and being like, you can't market that to children. But in 1979, you could have an 18-inch xenomorph doll with the little mouth that would pop out. Yeah. So, I mean, I have a lot of memories of that, and just being, I hadn't even seen the movie and I was already like terrified of it, like in that, again, exorcisty kind of way.
Yeah.
So that's why it was my number 5, and it was your number 2.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it totally belongs.
Absolutely, dude.
One of the most, what's interesting, real quick side note, is that Predator is not in any of our lists.
I know. It's hard, man.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I thought about it and I was like, I like Predator, but the alien xenomorph, that come on. And all the different kinds. I love all the different kinds of xenomorphs they came up with, just like the queen and the scorpion alien and the bull alien and all those.
Yeah,
like,
it's
fucking brilliant. When they came out with those toys, well, we have some of them here.
Yeah.
When they came out with those in the 90s, man, I was all about it. Loved them. So let's move on to our next choices. I think we should go with one of Megan's. I think we should talk about your choice of that pointy-eared, green-blooded Vulcan himself.
Half-breed.
Yeah.
No
Mr.
good
Spock.
half-breed. Yes. Yeah, I know there's so many Star Trek aliens and stuff like that. I had a hard time. I was like, I gotta choose at least one Star Trek.
Right.
And I settled on Mr. Spock because he was the first alien we ever met in Star Trek. He kind of led it to everything else. So I chose Mr. Spock.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If people don't know by the time they're watching this and stuff, that we've talked about many times, and we'll be doing much more about it, we are all about Star Trek. Super duper all about Star Trek. So if people are like, oh, I'm kind of surprised, just like we were jokingly bagging on you guys for picking tribbles and stuff. If people are like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't mention, Klingons, like, dude, this whole list could have just
Yeah.
been Star Trek, related stuff. So
Easily.
and that's why I left Mr. Spock and Vulcans as like an honorary mention. Although I think it totally belongs in a top 5. So
Absolutely.
I don't fault you for that. But that's why I left it in my honorary mentions, because I was like, I can't even. Star Wars and Star Trek, I was like, I'm not even going to go there in my, because they're their own thing. But yeah, what was cool about the Vulcans and Mr. Spock was that it was like a positive role model or impression of aliens. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As somebody that it was intelligent, and
Loyal and
loyal, and was
logical. And
Mhm.
logic. Yeah, had all these good, traits to them and everything. And also the fact that the whole thing about the Vulcans is that they work in conjunction with the human race. We're not at odds with them. Like, is what's in First Contact, right? That you find out that they were the first alien race to make contact with
Zephyr and Cochrane because of the warp engine.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, that Vulcans are in, at least in terms of that universe or whatever, the Vulcans are our best alien allies, really you can say. So,
yeah, they help propel the human species into what we become in the Star Trek universe,
Exactly. Plus cool catchphrases and
Oh, absolutely.
and the hand thing. Can you guys do the hand thing?
I gotta really think about it. There we go.
There you go.
Got it.
So you can do it. It's funny how many people
I don't know if I
cannot
can do this hand. I'm a little cockeyed, but
it's like Megs isn't like live long and prosper. It's like do kind of okay and,
do what you can.
do what you can and chill.
Do what you can and chill.
Yeah, some people have a really hard time doing that.
I know,
Was it the guy that plays Spock in
Zachary Quinto?
Yeah, and
Right?
I think they had to like glue his
Tape
fingers
it.
together
Yeah.
or something like that.
Like that.
Yeah. See, I could do all that stuff and go like that.
I've always been able to do that since a kid.
Yeah, me too.
It's weird.
I thought it was weird when I started finding out people like you could do that. I'm like,
Yeah. Now, people who can like twist and twirl their tongue into weird shapes,
oh, that's weird.
how do you
Yeah.
do that? I don't understand that.
Yeah, like the Gene Simmons
Yeah,
thing.
like-
and it just looks creepy.
Yeah.
I don't trust people who can do that.
What I thought was interesting about Mr. Spock also, when I was looking everything up, was that he was getting so popular that he was overshining Mr. Kirk,
Captain
Kirk.
Yeah. Mhm.
and so they eventually had to take lines that were supposed to be Spock's and give them to Kirk so he didn't sound like an idiot.
Wow. Well, Kirk was a little bit of
Yeah.
an idiot. I love Kirk, but
Yeah.
he was kind of a meathead.
Yeah, so they had to take some of Spock's lines away. It's like, well, Spock can't figure everything out all the time, so we got to give it to Kirk.
Well, and there was a lot of, again, we can't talk too much about it because we'll go
Well,
on.
Kirk was the fists, the brawn, and Spock was the brain,
The brain.
right? That's how it should have been all the
And-
time.
Then McCoy was the sass.
Yes.
He was
And
the
Scotty
sass.
was the drunk. I mean, they had everything,
It was everything.
planned perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was perfect. But we know that as we know now, there were a lot of ego
Yeah.
clashes in that cast. I mean, some of those guys still can't stand each other. I think Sulu and Kirk, those two still
Really?
Yeah.
Takai, George and
Shit.
Shatner
Shatner.
still are at odds with each other about stuff, but yeah, so it goes. No, that's a great choice. Like I said, on normal circumstances, that would be totally in my list, but I'll let you have him.
Thank you. I'll take him.
He's in my honorary. So, all right, moving on. So, Vito, you're number 4.
The Leviathans of Jupiter.
Yeah. So some people might not be, I mean, the real sci-fi guys are going to know, but for your average listener, they may not be that familiar with Ben's.
Yeah, so these creatures first appeared in Jupiter, which was, I think, in 2004 or 2001, something like that. Basically, they're these gigantic whales that live in the oceans of Jupiter. And humans figure out how to, like, breathe this liquid, I don't even know what you would call it. I think they call it perfluorocarbon. I might
Okay,
just
I know what you-
butcher that, but it's basically like the abyss. You know how they
Right.
breathe the liquid?
Mhm.
So that's how they get into the depths of Jupiter, and they like discover these gigantic whales who are highly intelligent and can communicate with each other using like these lights, like chromatophores or whatever.
Mhm.
Pretty, like when I read that, like my mind was blown. Like there's whales living in Jupiter. Like that just blew my mind, you know, because you would never think that Jupiter would support life. But with Ben, every planet he goes to, he makes up like a theory of how life could exist.
Which I love.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's other creatures besides the whales, like these like sawfish creatures that feed on the whales. There's like these gigantic flying birds and very, very cool stuff. I highly recommend you read these books, man. So that just, I had to put that in because it's just such a unique alien creature. And just when I read that, like I literally, like my jaw dropped, you know?
It's interesting that whales ends up being a commonly used character or trope or whatever in sci-fi, because you've got the whole whale thing in like Star Trek 4.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah, me too.
Is it?
Well, double dumbass on you.
Yeah, right.
But the whole concept of that those were put here from another planet kind of thing. So there's something sci-fi alien about whales in that. There's the space whales in Doctor Who
Yeah.
and everything. That's a great
Really?
dude, I'm telling you.
Is it a newer Doctor Who?
Yes.
Newer
Okay.
ones, yes.
All right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, you're gonna think Doctor Who's kind of goofy sometimes, but some of it is fucking awesome. There's some great writing, especially it depends on who the writer was, because they have, just like with Trek, there's tons of different writers, and when they get especially guys like Neil Gaiman wrote some Doctor Who episodes. There's some really good ones, man. But Space Whales it's one of my favorite episodes too. It's a really good one. And it's appeared in other stories and other sci-fi books and things. Yeah, there's something about, and again, we're getting back to that aquatic thing, there's just something in us that makes us think that there's a connection between like these aquatic creatures, probably because they're the oldest creatures on the planet, and we know
and they're just so alien. I mean, they live literally in a different environment and world than we do, you know?
And we know so little about
Right.
them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know
What's down there,
where they come from, or they've been around for so long. Yeah. No, I don't know that much about Ben Bova's stuff, but what I do know is that it's solid. I love the idea of coming up with, when there's so many scientists and people that sit there and say, well, it's impossible for there to be life in this kind of planet or in this environment. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
You're going by your knowledge of life.
A carbon-based
Right.
life form. It doesn't have to be carbon-based.
Right.
It doesn't have to be bipedal
Right.
or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
It can just be a simple bacteria.
What do we do if we find out that there's forms of life or actual beings that live in a completely different way? They don't have blood. They don't breathe oxygen. They don't blah, blah, blah. All this kind of shit. We act like we know all the fucking answers, and I'm telling you right now, you don't know shit.
We have no idea.
No.
Because me and these guys think you suck. Just kidding. Sorry. That's from a movie, actually. But anyway, yeah, that's a great choice, man.
Thank you.
Solid. Can we move on?
Let's go.
Well, staying in the context of literary aliens and alien presence and stuff, my number 4 was the extraterrestrials or whatever from 2001, 2010. Like I said, it's tricky. This one's really tricky because there's not much to show or anything, there's not much to really talk about. There's no
Like physical substance. to them, right?
something to like describe when it comes to these things, because you never see them. All you know is you have the monolith, of course, which is their tool that they implant on different planets and moons and different places that is supposed to be, we don't really know exactly what it is.
Does it like boost evolution? Does it just warn them, like, hey, the evolution is taking place right now?
Something like that. Yeah, it's like a power booster, and it's something. It's like it germinates.
Yeah,
And then of course, it's usually kind of representative from the space baby embryo thing. That you see related to astronaut Dave Bowman. But yeah, you never really see them at all. I chose this because of the impact and importance that this story and those kind of aliens had on all the future, not even just science fiction, but even just the way we think about what could be out there and stuff that came after that, and the theological implications of it, because you watch that and you start thinking about, like, imagine if this is it, like, this is how it worked, like, this is why evolution happened, I mean, again, and I'm trying to offend anybody, but people that are religious and believe in, whether they believe in that it's God, the Christian God, or they believe in Vishnu or whatever, it's like, that's all fine, but then there's this, and I mean, well, I mean, there's Scientologists out there. That's and to me, it's plausible, man. Like you think about this and you go, this kind of makes sense, And what's cool is they don't ever really explain it,
No, I mean, is the monolith like a robot probe that just sits there and waits for something, or what does it do?
But I mean, you don't really get, other than when you get what happens with the whole trippy sequence at the end of 2001, for me, like I think we've talked about a little bit before, 2010 is the story that I really love.
Yeah, that's where I sit.
Yeah.
That's...
And just the way that ends, and then when it makes its presence known to Roy Schneider's character and everything, and tells him about, something wonderful happened. And spoiler alert, when Jupiter explodes and becomes our new sun, and we get that message on the screen of all these worlds are yours, like it's like that still makes my hair stand on end.
Dude,
like,
when I read 2010, when the Chinese get to Jupiter in the book, it's different than the movie,
right,
and that the fucking creatures come out of the ocean, I was like, dude, there's life on Europa. Like I lost my mind, dude.
Yep. To the point where there's still theories regarding Europa.
Because in the 90s, they were going to send probes there that could swim under the ocean and figure out what's going on.
But see, they told them attempt no landing there. All those worlds are yours except Europa. Leave it alone.
Dude, we ain't going to listen to that shit. We're going to go there. Even if some Space Force told us not to go, we're going to fucking go there.
Especially because they told us not to go.
Right. It's like, fuck you. I'll go there. We're fucking America. You're going to tell us where we can't go? No, we're going to go, and we're going to take it.
and the Russians are even worse about that than we are. The Russians are like, fuck you. We do what we want. Fuck you, fucking bastards. But anyway, so that's just, I had to put that in there because of its influence on not just sci-fi, but culture, theological beliefs, all that. And I mean, that story, it came out in the 60s, and there have been more books, 2010, 2061, so on and so forth. The space ladder in 2061, that the space
See, I haven't
escalator.
read those yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the premise of them, but I haven't.
Yeah, I won't tell you. I
actually-
won't tell you then. Yeah, but I mean, we're still talking about them. Like they're still relevant topics, and still talking about them today. It's like had to make the list. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Cool.
ready to move on?
Ready.
All right, let's go with. We'll do killing two birds with one stone. Although I'm told we're not supposed to use that phrase anymore.
Really?
Because it's offensive to animals.
Fucking shut up. Just guys, stop it already. Come on. Shit's getting way out of hand now.
I'm not. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Yeah, it's a turn of phrase, man. It doesn't mean anything. But in any
Jesus
case,
Christ.
we're gonna cross two off in one swoop.
Okay.
How about that? And we'll do mine and Megan's, which was your number 3 was the same as mine, right? It was
It
Doctor
was Doctor Who.
Who?
Doctor Who. The eternal question of what is he? What's his name? Nobody knows his name.
Ooh.
Well, we thought River Song knew his name because the only person that could know his name would be the doctor's wife.
Yep.
But then even that, they sort of retconned it, and it's a whole thing, man.
Okay, because
But-
I'm totally lost right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And people
River
have to-
Song, were we talking about Lord of the Rings or something here? What's going on?
River Song was a archaeologist who could also ended up being able to traverse time and everything, and became Doctor Who's lover
Oh.
through multiple incarnations of Doctor Who and stuff. She would, it's crazy because she would meet him at different points in time, so he'd be different, to the point where when Capaldi was the last time we saw River Song, she didn't even know it was him and everything. That's one of the only Capaldi episodes later Capaldi episodes I've seen in completion, and it's such a good episode.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of fell off at Capaldi. He lost me at the freaking. He changed the sonic screwdriver to like the sunglasses or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was playing that guitar. And
Yeah.
It was
That's-
okay,
that's-
I'm out.
That's Poochie. Yeah, jumping the shark kind
Was
of,
it?
you know.
Yeah.
Is this the Capaldi's like the newer guy that nobody likes, or is that different?
Well, yeah, people.
He's
were-
out now.
He's gone
Okay.
now,
It's
and
the woman now. That
now
plays,
they've got
right?
Jodie
Okay.
Whittaker from
And
which.
she's like a new David Tennant.
That's what I've heard. I haven't watched any of the Jodie Whittaker yet. I've seen little snippets, bits and pieces, and I'm super excited. I'm totally all aboard for a female Doctor Who. I know some people weren't. You're stupid. Fuck you. I'm all for her doing it. And she's a good actress and she's funny. But I don't know much about her. But that's another thing. That's part of what I love about the Doctor is that it's so cool that the Doctor can be all those things. And Doctor's like humanoid-ish, but the Doctor's an alien and manages to be funny, but still suspenseful. Doctor Who doesn't shy away from discussing like moral.
Yeah, you don't cross Doctor Who.
No.
If he trusts you, he better fucking trust you,
Yeah.
or else you're gone.
They're-
He'll cut you out in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and they don't shy away from discussing things that are like talking about issues that are in our culture, ethical questions that come up all the time about equality and a lot of things that deal with prejudice and stuff like that. Although a lot of times, of course, they're doing it in the context of prejudice, you know, for towards aliens or between aliens or different stuff.
But it's sci-fi metaphors, right?
It is,
Right.
yeah. But the way that it's done and the way they put it across, it's cool because I think it reaches more people and it reaches younger people and stuff. Because that's the other thing that's cool about Doctor Who too, is that Doctor Who had shows like the Sarah Jane Chronicles and stuff, which was totally geared towards kids. And then they had things like Torchwood and Offshoot, which was not towards kids at all. I mean, it was a television show, but it was racy.
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Torchwood's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he'd probably like Torchwood, I bet.
Yeah, I bet he would.
So it's in the same universe as Doctor.
Same
Oh,
universe, and there's crossover.
Oh, that's
there.
weird.
You know, it's kind of like Trek, how it's got
Okay,
Deep
yeah,
Space Nine and blah blah blah. But Torchwood is definitely like, you know, later night television kind of for
like Baywatch Nights. What that did for no.
No.
No. But the other thing that's great about Doctor Who is that the Doctor is like this watchdog and protector of the planet, you know, like, right? I mean, like Doctor Who's
Yeah, other aliens come and try to take us over, and he's like, nope, you're out.
yeah, he's really
Take a hike.
he's protective of the human race, even though he's not a human.
Yeah.
He's been all over the planet, all over the galaxy, the universe. But there's something about humans that he believes in the human race, and he's always kind of, or he or she, the doctor is always kind of lecturing us a little bit, kind of being like, you have the means to be great. You have the means to be a great race of people in this galaxy. You just got to find your way with this. And that's a big part of why I really enjoy the stories, why I like the Doctor. There've been, you know, David Tennant as well, Matt Smith, Eccleston. There've been a lot of good doctors. A lot of good people have played. Matt Smith was great as the Doctor, but David Tennant is the fucking Doctor.
Yep, absolutely,
So
hands
good.
down, no question.
So good.
It's
He could
Tennant.
be funny, but he could be really intense too. You
Yeah.
know, like he'll get pissed. He'll fuck you up. You know, but he's a total goofball. Yeah. Is anything you want to add about the Doctor? I'm sorry, I'm rambling on about it. You know.
No.
Okay.
I chimed in as I needed to.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I know I do that, and I get excited about my.
Yeah, I've seen the new Doctor, the girl, and I've seen a couple episodes, and I do enjoy it.
Okay.
I haven't kept up with it
Yeah, I got to check it out still.
because I don't have actual TV, but
Yeah.
what I did see, I did really enjoy.
And I mean, you know, the last thing that I just want to say about it, why I think it deserves to be in the top 5, is the fact that the Doctor has gone with barely a break. I mean, it broke temporarily for a decade or so from television, but it continued on in books, continued on in like audio. There's a whole bunch of like Doctor Who stories that are audio only.
I saw those on Audible. There's like radio dramas for Doctor Who and all that kind
And
of stuff.
some of them are great.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Some of them even have the actual actors doing
cool.
it. So it's just, you just have to imagine the visuals or
Yeah.
whatever. But what's so great about it is that it's been going on for over 50 years.
It's like the longest running
sci-fi
right?
show. Yeah, I believe so.
That's
50
crazy.
years. And even after 50 years, the Doctor itself is so mysterious. Like there's still tons of mystery about the Doctor. You still don't know. And every now and then you get these little nuggets, like at the end of David Tennant's time when the one character shows up and they never really tell you in the end of time, but you assume that was his mother.
Mhm.
Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
With the whole knocks 4 times thing, David Tennant's last episode, and there was
I don't want to think about that.
he didn't want to go, but like little things you don't know much about, like his family, and then and the idea of that you still are learning stuff about this character after over 50 years of stories, and like I love that. That's why it keeps me hooked. That's why I'm still.
He's been married 3 times? It's like Queen Elizabeth and
and
Marilyn Monroe,
right,
and River Song,
right, and like, but even all of them, there's always like a little loophole kind of thing. So you go, well, he wasn't really married to them because she actually married like.
Well, he doesn't want to pay alimony. Can you imagine that? Over 50 years? Come on.
Well, in his case,
generation.
I was gonna
500
say,
years.
when you consider him and River Song, it's not linear because it's like I said, like they meet
skip
each
around,
other
right?
in
Yeah.
various. Yeah, I mean exactly. they meet in completely different centuries and different parts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like on the show, you meet her, and then she's like, we meet her being born and
It's
being
I love-
conceived, and it's
love
like it's all
the
over
River
the place.
Song.
You,
Yeah.
you really get to know River Song.
I love the whole River Song story. Some people don't care for River Song. Some Doctor Who fans don't like that they brought that element in there because Doctor Who was never romantic. And this was the closest they ever got to like romance really for Doctor Who. Well, that and Rose. That, yeah. And that's
So you're basically telling me this is like Back to the Future 3. Doc finds love. This is Doctor Who and this Doc finds
kind
love
of, yeah,
story?
kind of.
Kind of, but no.
No.
Okay.
Just we'll get you into it eventually, and I'll have to guide you through it because there's going to be points you're going to be like, I don't know, bro, and it's like just trust me.
Just don't watch that one episode. What was that? It was so terrible.
Which one?
Which one?
God, because there have been some bad ones, but
That's going to be the one I like, I bet you.
Okay, I don't know, but
No.
maybe.
I'm going to do what I do with everybody is I'm going to make him watch Blink.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I've seen Blink with the Angels.
Yeah.
with the
That's
Weeping
fucking
Angels.
amazing, dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
I saw that one and then another one, I think, where some aliens are trying to take over Parliament.
Oh, that
Oh.
one's stupid.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, see that to me
Where they're unzipping.
Yeah.
To me
Yeah.
that's
It's very David Icke reptilian takeover
the
shit.
concept is okay, but the way they did it, they made it super goofy, cartoony, and that's early New Who. And I feel like as much as I love Eccleston and all that stuff, I feel like they were kind of finding their
I
way.
gotcha.
Yeah.
By the end of the Eccleston first season with the Ninth Doctor, when they start getting into Bad Wolf and all that kind of shit,
Oh yeah.
then
it
it's
gets real good.
then it starts getting really good and everything. Yeah, every time that one comes on, we always go, oh God, those stupid farting fat alien suit things. But anyway, we've talked a long time about Doctor
We
Who,
have.
but well, that was our both.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, but yeah, so firmly in the middle of our lists. So Vito, you're number 3.
Was the Goa'uld from Stargate SG-1.
Goa'uld.
Goa'uld.
I am the Goa'uld.
The characters in the show mispronounce Goa'uld in many different ways, so I might be pronouncing it totally wrong. So George, if you're listening, I apologize, dude, if I'm naming it wrong. My buddy George is the biggest Stargate fan I know. And
Is
he like created a petition to get Stargate back on TV. And
Wow.
like people actually like thousands of people signed it and stuff. So
It's got a hardcore
Dude,
following, man.
yeah, man.
Here's the thing about Stargate. People that like Stargate they're deadly
It's-
serious about
dude.
that shit, man.
Stargate, the movie, changed my life. I'm not even joking. Like I saw
Okay.
that and it changed my life. So the Goa'uld are these parasitic snake things that take over people and can control them, and they take on the form of gods and superior people
Right.
to enslave people. So they came to Earth as Egyptian gods, like Ra was a
Right, I
Goa'uld.
remember that.
So they
Yeah.
enslaved people and used religion to control the masses and to make them do what they needed to do.
That would never happen.
No, never at all.
Sorry. Anyway.
And they're just an incredibly just fascinating species to me. They've got these people called the Jaffa, which are like incubators where the Goa'uld actually like live in their stomachs until they're mature enough to take over a person. Very, very cool shit, dude. And just the whole concept of aliens impersonating gods to enslave humans. When I saw this when I was like 12 or 13, like changed my view on religion forever. Because I grew up like pretty religious, man.
Yeah,
And this
that's
kind
true.
of flipped it on me. I was like,
Really?
it would be that easy for people to fall for something like this?
And then you
So,
start thinking.
Yeah, and that's where I got into alien conspiracies and aliens coming and genetically engineering humans and stuff like this. So this literally movie like catapulted a change in thinking when I was very young.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why I had to put them on this list.
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely.
And the show itself was amazing because the Goa'uld are more prevalent in the shows than it is in the movie. Because the movie, you know, it's an alien at the end, but they don't go into the mythology and the lore of what the Goa'uld are. So
Yeah.
you got to check out Stargate SG-1, at least the first 5 seasons, because I think they got into some comedic stuff that I was kind of not on
Right.
board
Yeah.
with.
See, I remember that.
Yeah. So
No, Stargate, I have to delve more into it. I always jumped around, you know.
jump up and get down.
Yeah, I'm the cream of the
Yeah.
crop. I rise to the top. I never eat a pig because a pig is a cop. About a yet a Terminator. Oh, Terminator.
Oh,
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, trying to like you said, my name was Sega. Sorry, turned into House of Pain all of a sudden. Yeah, no, I always wanted to go back. That's one of those series that I've always meant to go back. Oh, look at this! You got all of season 1 right here.
yeah. I've got season 1 through 5 upstairs. I just brought season 1 down, but it's very dusty, as you
Yeah.
can see.
Like an old relic.
Yeah.
An old Egyptian relic that was actually put here by aliens. But yeah, I'll have to borrow this.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we should do a whole Stargate like retrospective
Oh,
thing.
man.
You know, that would be really cool. So awesome. Yeah, that's a great choice, brother.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, Megan, let's talk about your number 2.
Yay.
Your silly
My
guys.
silly guys, Stu and Mr. B.
So
I
I
didn't know
don't
they had names before I started researching this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've seen like the characters before, but I don't know anything about this. So you're gonna have to fill us in on this.
I'm going to try to explain it without giving it all away because it's only literally 5 minutes. Little short movie from Pixar.
Okay.
But it's this little dude here. You can't even see him in this picture. Oh, that little dude right there. Look at him. He's so cute. His hat doesn't even fit. It like wobbles over the place. But he is doing his alien abduction or his abduction test. And he's abducting this farmer here. And it goes horribly wrong. He's got like this whole like board of nondescript toggles and switches. And he's like trying to remember his manual and all that. And you got the deadpan Mr. B. He's like, is this button? He's like looking at me like, won't give it away. Just that look. He's like, is it this button? He's like, still won't give it away. And so everything goes horribly wrong. This poor farmer probably has every bone in his body broken. He's going to wake up very sore.
Oh, jeez.
Especially after the ending, but just that alone. It's just so funny. And
It sounds pretty funny from what you're
and
describing.
Mr. B ends up having to save the poor farmer's life because the little alien does get the farmer. He like brings him up through that tree. It's like every bone, every branch in the tree. There we go. Branch in the tree. He goes through it and he gets it up there and he's like so proud. He's like, look at me, I did it. And he lets go, but he forgot to close the hatch. So the farmer goes, whoosh,
Oh no.
back down. So that's when Mr. B has to save the day and It's like just as before the farmer hits the ground, Mr. B saves the day. So, and he lets the little guy drive the UFO off because he felt so bad. He was crying. I love them. This stupid thing. It's at the beginning of Ratatouille.
Oh, okay. So it was an
Sorry.
older one then, huh?
Yeah, I love Ratatouille too. So, but I put this on and I play it over and over and over.
You know that
and
I
over.
have seen this before because I
Yeah.
know we have Ratatouille. I'm sure I've seen it then, but I just don't remember. It's been a while, so
Yeah,
that's
I
funny.
love this thing.
I know I recognize the characters, but so you just chose it just because.
I just love it. It makes me happy. Look at them; they're so freaking cute. They're just big blobs. They're big green aliens, just like you expect them to be.
Yeah.
It's cute that he has to do the abduction test.
That's pretty clever.
So.
Well, some would say that alien abductions is no laughing matter.
They do say that.
You know, did they get into the whole like alien, like anal probe thing or
No.
no anal?
It's
No,
a
it's
kid's cartoon,
It's
Larry.
a kid's cartoon, yeah.
Well, excuse me.
He just wants to. He didn't get that far. He just barely got him up into the UFO. And
So
dropped
yeah,
him.
it's not necessarily. It would be the alien scientists that would be doing like the possible probing
Yeah,
and stuff.
He's not
just
that far
trying.
along yet.
Right. He's just trying to get him into the vessel,
Exactly.
the vessel.
Is it a nuclear vessel?
Get them up in the nuclear vessel. Yeah. It is not a nuclear vessel, but no, it's cute. I'm gonna have to go back. I gotta pull out that. Is it? It's on the DVD. I'm assuming.
Yes, it's on the DVD.
Okay.
It's actually on YouTube.
Oh,
I
okay.
rewatched it on YouTube. I was like, oh, it's only 5 minutes. Because I just thought it was like a little clip of it. No, it's the whole thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it. But all right, I guess all things considered, we can have a little bit of lightheartedness in
Yes.
here when you've got, xenomorphs and Starship Trooper alien insects and all that shit. This is like
I always got to throw the oddball out there.
that's okay. Everybody loves that you're such an oddball, Megan. That's why we have you on here.
I know it.
All right, well then, can we move on?
Yes.
To my number 2. All right. So my number 2, and I mean, I don't have a ton of things to say about this because I talked about this so much already in the Mars episode. The War of the Worlds Martians. I mean, again, I waxed on, did all sorts of geeking classics about it. There's all sorts of stuff. But again, kind of like the 2001 aliens and stuff, I put this in there and so high because, I mean, it's such a huge influence on sci-fi and, again, pop culture. This, for years, was what people thought of when people thought of, and they still do to some degree, when people think of aliens coming to Earth, alien invaders, blah, 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 they think of the War of the Worlds aliens, the Martians, those ships, the whatever you call them, they're three-eyed, Simon probes things like again, folks, if you get a chance, Vito, you should put a link or something. You should watch our War of the Worlds teaser.
One of our best ones, if you ask me.
That one was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
But the designs of all the technology, the way in which they attacked us, the actual war aspects of it, the fact that they were kind of freaky but also silly looking and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it was such a huge influence, for better or worse, because it did get, for a while there, sillier from there on. There was exceptions. I guess The Day the Earth Stood Still came out a couple years after that. That's not a silly movie. That's a good movie. And that could have made this list too, easily. But I mean, for me, this made it onto the list and was so high because, again, huge influence on me when I was a kid. This was, along with my number 1 choice, this was one of 2 movies that made me infatuated with space, infatuated with science fiction in general, and made me start to care about other aspects, because Star Wars, again, I mean, I'd already seen Star Wars, but Star Wars wasn't the same thing. It wasn't. That's
More
not
fantasy.
Yeah, that's not.
Yes.
I never think of that as being science fiction,
Mhm.
if that makes any sense. Like, to me, there's got to be something more alien about it, some kind of connection to Earth and its relation to it and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I won't wax on too much about it, but that's why it's my number 2. And I already know what you guys think of it because you already told me.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because most at that time it was like, well, if we have enough bullets, we can kill this thing, right? And this is like, no,
Nope.
that's not going to work, dude. But what you do have is you have these small little bacteria that can do the job for you,
Right.
And you don't even know it yet.
And I think and again,
It's a brilliant way to take out the monster,
especially
you
for
know?
back then. Now everybody would take that for granted and go, oh, well, yeah, it's like, no. I mean, back then to come up with that, I mean, we knew so little about, even by, well, I mean, this, obviously the movie came out in the 50s, but the stories.
The book was like
the s-
1880,
much
whatever,
older.
right?
But the whole concept of bacteria and all that kind of stuff, and the idea that these creatures not living here would be susceptible to that, like, that was so revolutionary. Like, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
You're going, how? I mean, they're destroying everything. How are we going to stop them? What's the big weapon we're going to come up with? Because I mean, that movie came out post,
That was Atomic Age,
Atomic
man.
Age. So the thing you would assume is, well, it's going to have to be some kind of
Nuke bomb.
H-bomb kind of, whatever thing. And it's like, nope, bacteria, and just killed them dead with their weird little suction cup fingers crawling out. But this guy here, yeah. So anyway, yeah, its importance in the whole genre and everything, to me, that's why it's my number 2. So
Solid number 2.
For sure.
solid as a rock. No, okay,
No.
never mind. Sorry.
Moving on.
Sorry, I'll just move on. Well, you know what that brings us up to?
Numero uno.
Uno. Uno. Okay, we're going on to numero uno. All right, so Megan, let's talk about your number 1, which was
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Archaeologist, aliens,
Yeah.
guys, skull guys.
Yeah.
They really don't have a name, so.
No. So what made you choose that?
I chose this one because, I chose it because of the book. I love the book, so they weren't like horrible CGI aliens in the book. Too. In my
Yeah.
head, they weren't. They were pretty fucking cool in my head. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of people rag on this movie because, Indiana Jones isn't supposed to be about aliens. It's more, but is it really? I mean, it's more about like the myth and the legends and stuff and him going after that. So why not be aliens? Especially in the 1950s.
Right.
It's a time period,
Mm-hmm.
Right. I thought it made sense.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was about the aliens in the 1950s. So why wouldn't he be going after that?
Yeah.
Believing that and
But I mean, the whole thing was when we got to the 1950s, not only was it more popular in pop culture and all that kind of stuff, but it was that point where people, not just yahoos, but scientists, different people started considering that a lot of these things, that these historical, archaeological finds, different stuff, everything from pyramids to different stuff, could have some sort of extraterrestrial connection. So, yeah, I think it totally makes sense that they would go that route. I think some of the execution in the movie
right.
Yeah, it was a little iffy, but
was a little iffy.
Several things in the movie were pretty fucking iffy. But,
yeah.
and that's why I went with the book because I really enjoyed the book.
I've never read the book. And
Yeah,
now,
me either,
now I really want to read the book. I'm surprised you didn't
Just-
read it.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't, no. I knew, because it's funny because I didn't know James Rollins from that book. So
No.
I hadn't read it, up to the point when I did read James Rollins. So,
It's like Indiana Jones and James Rollins. I'm sold.
yeah.
I'm in. Totally in all the way. But like in the book, like in the movie, the girl, I can't remember who played that girl.
Yeah, I
Kate
know what you're
Blanchett
talking-
or something like that.
Is it
whatever
the Russian
Yeah,
girl?
yeah,
Or
yeah, the
something?
Russian
Okay.
girl.
Yes.
like people are like, what's with her sword? I don't understand the sword thing. But in the book, it's more pronounced and explains why she's got the sword, and
It's always the case.
Yeah,
so
It's always the case.
it's a big deal in the book.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they really cut that out of there.
I'm
The movie,
totally gonna go pick up that book.
but you should.
Yeah, I want to, because like I said, I liked that movie, and was surprised that it was better than I thought it was. 'Cause I only saw it a couple of years ago for the first time, and there were things that I wanted more out of it and everything. So it sounds like the book might
Give you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. That's why I chose it, because I disagree with everybody.
And you are a Rollins fangirl.
I am a Rollins fangirl. Totally all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Every book.
Well, Rollins and Indiana Jones fangirl.
Yeah,
so
exactly. There's no way to go wrong with that.
that's like a total double team in there, you know.
Yep. You double teamed me.
Hey, you said it.
Yes, I did. Never mind.
Folks that can't see what I just did there, I just did something somewhat vulgar with this poor Telosian guy, because he does look like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Just being goofy. It's getting late, folks. All right. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think that's a solid choice and a solid reason for why. On a similar-ish note, my number one was the aliens from Close Encounters. To me, like, up to that point, I feel like that was probably the most believable to me what an alien might actually be like. I mean, in some ways, the aliens from Close Encounters are kind of like the Greys, you know, it's the big-headed alien and stuff. But I like that those aliens have a little bit more expression, like something that was still a little bit more relatable in a human way, even though they're disproportionate. I also loved the whole thing of how they had all the different kinds of aliens that came off the ship. Like at the one point they show like the big, like, yeah, this guy, they showed the big spider limbed alien, and then there's all the real little ones, and then there was the main guy that does the
hand
signal thing, to Lacombe. And I like that they did that. I think they were a good balance. I thought the way they did the movie, here's the thing with that movie. I remember going to see it at the theater, and I thought throughout the whole movie, you're a little afraid of these things. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like your typical sci-fi, like, oh my God, you're especially with the whole scene where they abduct Barry, the little boy. I mean, that's a terrifying scene. It was terrifying for me because I first saw it, I was 4. So I'm a little blonde-haired boy that looked just like Barry,
and your name was Larry, so it's like, dude, they're coming for me.
Yeah.
What if they missed a letter in their chart, and now they're coming for me?
It's like a troll. Like I was like the guy from the wheelchair from Troll 2. I'm like, oh my God, they got him, and now they're coming for me. Oh my God! It's like, you're supposed to zoom in on me when I do that. If you haven't seen Troll 2, you don't know what I'm talking about.
You're missing out, man, because I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
Troll 2 is the shit.
One of the worst movies of all time, but great because of it. But anyway, it was terrifying throughout it, and then you get to the end and it completely flips, and you find out that there's no reason to actually be afraid of these things. In fact, they're intelligent and benevolent, and they've been taking people not to probe them or to hurt them, but because they're studying us or whatever, and coming. Like, that movie made such a massive impact on my mind as a kid, like I more than War of the Worlds, more than Star Wars, more than any other thing. That movie totally impacted me and made me realize, like, oh, this is my thing. Like I, because up to that point, well, I mean, it was 4, but up to that point, I didn't even know, like, I didn't have any concept of stuff. And then to see that, and I love the fact that one of my first impressions of aliens was of a kind alien, an intelligent alien. It felt real to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't think like, oh, this is totally fantastical, it'll never happen. Like, it just seemed like, oh yeah, this could happen. Like, I'm still expecting it to happen or think it could have happened. Like, I love that I guess it's fantasy, but it's not, to me, it's not far-fetched, Like, I totally believe this could happen like this, So I have to go with this as my number 1 because I credit this with my love of science fiction and my love and interest in aliens and in space. It's so beautifully done. Everything about this movie, I won't go on too much about the movie because we'll save that for when we talk about movies more. We're just talking about the aliens themselves. But, everything about this movie is absolutely fucking perfect. There's not a lot of movies out there that I go is absolutely 100%. If I was Rotten Tomatoes, this would rate 100%. This movie is absolutely perfect. And I just love those aliens, and I really hope that, I'm sure there's probably all different kinds of aliens out there, but I really hope that if we do ever encounter aliens, that we find some that are like that, because that's pretty cool. And they're just funny looking little, funny looking little naked baby looking things, like I used to have this little bendy one that it was like a rack toy one that came on a card, like a Star Wars figure would or whatever. But I remember being at Jewel when I was a kid, and it was like, they didn't make Close Encounters toys. It just wasn't a thing. But there was one toy, and it was it was about as big as this, but it was a little bendy alien with the hand, like this, so you can make them go like that and everything. Love that. I don't have one. I still want to find. Anybody out there got one? I'll take it. Send it to me, please. I'll love you forever. But yeah, I'll save a lot. I could go on and on about this. Everybody, Larry, go on and on. Never happened. But I'll save more about this for when we eventually talk about like the movie, because there's so much to say about the movie. But anyway, yeah, I mean, for me, this is just because they were so important and impactful, and they were my first aliens.
Yeah.
And I still watch the movie, and I still think they're cool. That kind of look of innocence, but then they're intelligent, and it's a good alien. Which then, like her aliens from Crystal Skull and mine kind of lead to your number 1 choice, which is
the Greys from supposedly Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah, explain what the Greys are.
So the Greys are your typical, like Larry was saying, the short aliens with the big heads. These would have big black eyes, small mouth, asexual. You don't know what they are. Do they communicate with, telekinesis or telepathy? What do they do, And this was the first race that I think I had heard of. I mean, when you think of an alien, this was like the image that you would think of, because this was like the Roswell Gray, the 40s. This is what you thought of as an alien.
Right.
And I always was fascinated by it, and they always looked so freaky and scary, to me. I've seen, the alien autopsy video, the interview with the alien at Area 51 who was, right?
That is awesome.
Where it's choking and they go in there and they try to save it and stuff. Yeah. Man, freaked me out as a kid. And I literally thought that was real for a long time. Mm-hmm. Now I've changed my view on what the Greys are or could be. So I do not think they might be a biological alien. They might be actually like a robot helper.
Really?
That's a theory that is very popular. So I kind of subscribe to that. My view on aliens and how they impacted society has greatly changed from when I was a kid.
Right.
So we'll save that for later. But this started it for me, man. The Roswell Gray is where it started for me. So I had to put it at the number 1 spot,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that is the
quintessential. What do you think of an alien? Boom. It's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as much as we like I said, we could talk about the Close Encounters ones, we could talk about your Crystal Skull ones, all that, but those are just offshoot versions
there's
of
other
this.
versions of that.
So this is the definitive. So Vito, you win.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you win. I mean, because that's
They're all connected.
yeah.
Total Recall reference. I use it all the time. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's it. That's Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about that and everything.
Yeah.
But that's a solid number one.
I think we all had solid lists here, man. It was diverse. We still had some crossover.
It was tough, but I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, I do have a couple of honorable mentions if you want to get into those real quick.
Yeah, I got a couple too. So let's go.
What about you, Meg? Did you have honorable mentions? I thought you did.
Not really.
Okay, well, fuck them then.
Yeah,
Never
fuck
mind.
'em.
Yeah. For me, a couple honorable mentions is from I gotta bring up my movie again, the balloon alien from Dark Star. That thing, again, another just like Xenomorph and all that, another Dan O'Bannon creation. I had to mention it just because I love that movie, and the alien, that whole thing is one of the best parts of that whole movie.
Yeah, it's for sure.
The idea Pinback brings it on as kind of a pet, you know what I mean, and treats it like like he's a shitty pet owner. Really, he doesn't treat it very well. But the idea that he's kind of got this alien that's a pet. It's not a pet, man. This is an alien. Like you're not, and that thing gets its revenge on him. Well, until he shoots it and it fucking blows up like it just peters out like a deflated ball bag. So I had to, yeah, goofy space pet gone wrong.
Yeah,
so I had to
pretty much.
mention that. And then lastly, and this is one that I'll talk more about hopefully in the future because it's another movie that I want to discuss when the time comes. It's kind of to me, it's a forgotten classic from, I think from 83. And it's a movie starring Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen called Starman. And, it's just kind of overlooked. Like I was telling you guys when I was talking about the other day, you don't ever really see the alien itself. It's more like it kind of presents itself almost more like a life force, kind of glowing life force thing, but it ends up taking on a human appearance because it finds some of Jeff Bridges' DNA, and Jeff Bridges' character, he's Karen Allen's dead husband. He's been dead for a while, but she kept some of his hair in a
to make a baby down the road.
I don't think they were thinking that far
Okay.
ahead. I think she had some of his hair like in a photo album.
She saved some condoms for later.
Oh,
Not tell him.
Jesus, Vito. It's fucking the Starman alien is not some cum gobbler. Come on, man. Jeez. Fucking God. What if it did that and it wound up like looking like half human and half like a rubber?
Yeah. It's got a little pointy reservoir tip at the top. Kind of like cone heads,
Yeah.
So, right.
Exactly. Just little reservoir tip aliens. Yeah. But anyway, no, it comes into Karen Allen's house while she's sleeping, and it's looking for something, and it finds the hair, so it's able to use that DNA, and ends up taking on the appearance of Jeff Bridges and everything, which of course freaks her out because it's her dead husband who she's been mourning and all this stuff. And then it's very much like E.T. in that he's got to rendezvous with his ship and all this kind of stuff, or he's slowly dying. It's again very much like E.T., but it's acted beautifully by Bridges and Allen. It's a touching movie. It's funny. But again, it's another one I love. As much as I love xenomorphs and all that shit, I love when aliens are presented in a way where they're shown to be intelligent and inquisitive and kind, and not just something that we have to be afraid of, because I just like that. To me, and this especially, the whole concept of how it manipulates itself through like DNA to make it a physical thing, whereas otherwise it's just like a life force.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was a cool concept, and it was a movie I loved when I was like a tween and stuff back in the 80s. So anyway, what about you, honorables?
The Harvesters from the Independence Day movies.
Oh, well, of course. We've talked about them before.
Yeah, so I won't get that into it. It's basically, I mean, it's a gray alien pretty much, but it's inside this huge, like, mechanical, biological suit thing, and their technology is really cool. I like the fact that basically their entire race lives on, like, a colony ship, and they go from planet to planet to planet, absorbing,
colonizing, yeah,
pretty much, and absorbing all the resources, and then they move on. That's a pretty cool concept to me.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know more, you can listen to or watch our Independence Day reviews that we did.
Exactly. We did a whole retrospective back on the 4th of July for Independence Day, and I think we did a damn good job with it.
We sure did.
Yeah.
And one more is the Andromeda strain.
That's a cool one, man.
So what's cool about this is it's not it's an alien, but it's a bacteria. It's a virus. Kind of like reversing it from War of the Worlds, where now we're not immune to it.
Right.
And this thing is really fucking scary, man. It can like pretty much turn your blood to like this powder.
Right.
And then it can, eventually it evolves past the contagious point, and it like takes on like a different form and will like chew rubber, and it's very cool. If you guys haven't read the book, I highly recommend the book by Michael Crichton, and the movie from 71, I think. Yeah,
early 70s.
Yeah. They made a TV series, Andromeda Strain, but it's different than the movie. Yeah. I won't spoil it, but it does not fit in today's topic. I'll just put it that way. But I highly recommend the book, the movie, and the miniseries was kind of cool too.
Cool
just a
for
different
its own thing, but it's not. Yeah, it's strayed from the
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real good recommendation. I highly recommend that. And one last thing, although I mentioned it was part of our Martian thing, was another one in that kind of somewhat is Martian Chronicles.
Yeah.
Definitely check out Martian Chronicles. That's another really cool one from the 70s, early 80s, based on books. So many good books, folks. Lots of good
You gotta read.
alien books. It pays to read.
It does. Well, sometimes it pays to read. If you go to a library, they don't pay you to read, but
you got to pay them so that you can read. Get your library card.
That's true.
Go to library. So cool, man. That was our top 5. I think we hope you guys enjoyed that. We hope we made some recommendations that if you're not familiar with, that you'll actually go out and check. Definitely go back and check out the other podcasts that we've mentioned, like Independence Day, Mars, all that. We're going to have Star Trek stuff coming up real soon. So if you want to know more about Star Trek stuff, we're going to have that coming up. But I think that does it for this. We're going to wax on a little bit more probably about aliens coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for checking out our show.
Yeah, if you enjoyed listening to us talk about our top 5 favorite aliens, make sure you check back and listen to our audio podcast where we're going to talk even more about the topic of aliens.
Maybe even some alien conspiracy, some real life stories, Roswell 47, the Nazi Antarctica base. Possibility, yeah.
That's some crazy stuff. Well, check back. You can listen to it on iTunes, on Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify. Yeah, and we'll have a link here on YouTube that you can also listen to if you're really into the video thing. So check back with us and keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. Take care.